let's say if it's raining outside and you open up your umbrella, then the umbrella has become your Asraya. Or if it's hot and you go inside and you get out of the sun, then the inside of your house becomes the Asraya. So it's the place where you rest. But it also has a sense of this is the place that you go back to, the place that you come from, the place upon which you rest or depend for the safety of your existence is the Asraya. So like kind of in a verb context, it's like you're taking protection from something, but in a noun context, it's like this is the thing which provides your existence. Like for the child, the parents are the Asraya. So it's kind of has a concept of being the origin, the thing which sustains. In fact, that's exactly the definition given here. So basically this verse is a definition of the term Asraya. So here's what it says. Abhashascha nirodhascha yato styadyavasiyate sa ashraya param brahma paramatmeti shabdite. Sounds a lot like that verse that we looked at before. Brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavanati shabdite. So it's a very similar. This is coming in the second part of the Bhagavatam. The previous one that we looked at about Advaya Gyan Tattva was from the first part. This is from the second Bhagavatam. It's 12 parts. So basically this translates like this. The Asraya is the entity upon whom reality exists and by whom it becomes manifest and unmanifest to our perception. It is known by words like Brahman and Paramatma. So it's very much paraphrasing this first verse that we studied, but it's adding this new thing into it. It's interesting. This thing called Asraya is the entity upon whom reality exists. So it's the entity that generates reality, and by this entity, we are all able to see it or not see it. It becomes manifest or unmanifest to us. And it's called Brahman or it's called Paramatma. So it's saying actually the stuff becoming real and unreal is your perception. Your perception experience things becoming real and unreal. Krishna says this many times in Gita. This is what Bhagavatam does, is it summarizes everything that's in the Vedas. So this is what the Upanishads and the Vedas are trying to teach you. Reality exists, it's permanent, but it changes all the time. And therefore, things in it appear to come and go. Creation and destruction happens by the moment. Consciousness sustains and connects one moment to the next. This is what the statement is saying. Abhasha and Nirodha happens all the time, but there's adhyavasiyate. There's some continuity through these moments. One moment comes, abhasa, then it disappears, nirodha, and then the next moment comes abhasa, and then it disappears, nirodha. But there's a constancy. It's not a whole different universe, right? So the constancy is this thing called Asraya, and that Asraya is described as Param Brahma and Paramatma and so on. Consciousness is that Asraya. You see, with that concept of like the umbrella or the house, like when it's the place where you exist, where your existence is based. You might go out, you might go someplace else, you come back there. So like the moments are changing, but the basis of everything happening is the house. It's the Asraya. And that Asraya is Brahman, or Atma, Paramatma. Consciousness is perception. Now, Asraya is personal. So they say, first of all, they describe Asraya as Brahman. Brahman, which means consciousness, but then they just say it's also described as Atman, which means an individual, a distinct being. And here's the reason. Consciousness is perception. That's what Brahman is. It's perception. Perception means there's a perceiver, there's a subject doing the perception. The subject doing the perception, perceiver means there's a definable, individuable being, entity. So this is why consciousness, or the Asraya is consciousness, and consciousness is person. The person has identity, atmika, tangibility, bhautika, and linking the two, tatro bhaya vicheda, linking the two which are separated, is adhitaivaka, or divinity. So that guy has got three components: the soul, the body, the Bhuta. The soul is the Atma, the body, the Bhuta, and then the Deva, which means the divine thing. Well, I thought the soul is a divine thing. It is. The soul is the core, the special, it's the unique, the most important thing. That's why it's called Atmika, is the core consciousness. And the Daiva is like the power of the consciousness, the divine power. Personal consciousness is distinct from its three interdependent components, which consist of which manifest reality consists. And those three interdependent components are identity, divinity, and tangibility. So the consciousness is producing these three things, Adhyatmaka, Adhibodhika, and Adhitaivaka, which together form this codependent unit of reality, the manifest reality. Individual consciousness is the ultimate origin of its own three components, but not of everybody's three components. Your individual consciousness is manifesting your identity, mind, and body. Mine is manifesting a totally different one. Therefore, there's an ultimate origin beyond the individual consciousness, because because we're talking right now. So my individual reality, speech power, and all that stuff is interfacing with your hearing power. Or if you're watching, then the vision power is interfacing, right? So these fields, that's why they describe as fields. It's a very handy word. These fields in which the beings manifest can interact, and that shows that there's some kind of meta field that connects them. Then it means that all these entities have a connection. They have an origin. So it's what that people are talking about when they talk about we are one, we're all connected, and this is why. This is actually much deeper than even why, but the fact that the mind doesn't actually get fully individuated. It's very interesting. Like, for example, how does telepathy work? Or extreme sympathy, where you can actually feel what another person is feeling. It works. Or clairvoyance and all those things, they work. It's because these individuated parts aren't as individuated as we think. So like in our body, even the bhotika components, or the solids, liquids, and gases, they're individuated components of a shared pool of solid, liquids, and gases. And so through the shared pool, some sensation can be shared, even on a physical level. Then on the mental level, it's even more so that the mind is a shared thing, shared part of Prakriti, that each individual is taking some bit of and shaping it into their own thing. So the things which are felt in one person's mind can be felt in another person's mind, because the substance that they're using is connected. And then ultimately, the fact that everybody is connected through Paramatma means that there's some way for people to bridge their experiences together.